Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Ask Berman episode 82. It is Saturday, the 3rd of November. It's very exciting. I'm excited to start, doing the podcast more often, hopefully. Apparently, and this was brought up to me by some folks that were on the podcast in the past. This is our, we are over 100 episodes recorded, or over a year, sorry, over a year of doing this podcast, which I did not even realize. So that's awesome. Thank you so much for being part of the podcast family, the experiment that has turned into something that's really fucking awesome. It's always a highlight of my week. I love doing it. We're working on trying to have a more having a more consistent schedule for the podcast where I'm going to try and do one episode a week, and we're going to do a focus of like making sure when and where you can show up, just so that way we can keep the content rolling when we need to keep the content rolling. But anyway, let's get our first folks in here, and then after we're done talking to folks, we'll take some questions from chat. As always, you're doing it live on the internet. This is our first person. This is Welfare Fish, who I assume is a fish on welfare that has learned how to talk.
God, hello.
Hi.
Hello. This is really weird because I had to meet the stream, and then it's like this is crazy, man. Hello.
Hello. How are you, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm wonderful.
So, I just got a couple of questions for you. Hopefully, that's cool.
Yeah, that's the whole point. So you're doing exactly what I want you to do. Yeah.
So, kind of just starting off, how do you feel about Mixer as a platform at the moment? Because I know they just put out their season 2 changes, and it's kind of a little crazy over there. So I was just wondering, because I know,
yeah, just as a platform.
Yeah, as a platform. How do you think it's looking right now on the landscape of platforms and such?
I think that it was really so the TwitchCon keynote was really interesting to me, right? Mm-hmm. They announced a lot of really interesting features,
right,
half of which were already existed on Mixer.
Right.
And the features they did announce, one of them was kind of a half measure of a feature, and the other one is something that should have been on Twitch since day one. So the cumulative sub counts, that should have been the choice instead of the sub streaks. And then so Mixer has co-streaming, and Twitch now is going to have a beta in January, not accessible to everyone, squad streaming. So squad streaming is 4 people, and they don't integrate chats, and they don't share viewers. It's just a way for the consumer or the viewer to kind of have an on-site multi-solution. And I don't know if we talked about this on the podcast, but we as Rare Drop, we have our own multi-site called the Rare Drop Multi,
which is really good. Quick shout out
that does that, but it also does it across Twitch and Facebook and Mixer and YouTube, and I think it's a shit ton of platforms. It's basically everything but Pornhub, live. So that feature's interesting. I think it's an inferior feature compared to the offering that Mixer has if you're looking at kind of the structure. And then obviously cumulative subs has been something on Mixer for a while. The thing that is interesting about Mixer right now to me is that and I've said this before on stream, but I don't know if I've ever said it on the podcast. So Microsoft bought Beam, which is what Mixer was originally, for around $7 million. If you want to stack that against how much Amazon paid for Twitch, it's less than 1%. So in order for Microsoft to, in my mind, to take a loss in trying to challenge Twitch in the space, they would have to outspend that initial investment, which for Amazon was $990 million. So Mixer, in my mind, and Microsoft, in my mind, have a lot of free space to sort of experiment on this platform. So personally, I like a lot of the things that are doing. I tweeted out, they talked about how they've changed the Sparks system into this sort of patronage thing where you earn Sparks from watching for free, and then you can, spend Sparks to do stuff on stream, and then the streamer gets revenue from that. Yeah. Which is a really interesting feature and kind of what I hoped bits would turn into on Twitch. So I tweeted about that, and it was really interesting to see the responses from folks. One of the most interesting responses I saw was from the guy who is he's global head of YouTube gaming, and AR and like all these initiatives there. And his comment with some of the Mixer guys that were talking in that thread, they were saying, this is obviously an investment in their, creators. And I think Mixer is incredibly focused on investing more and more heavily in their creators. The patronage system and that the grand experiment of like, what if we give a system-wide chat currency to people that they can spend and do things, and like, what if that's actually worth money? And like, it's a big, it's a big experiment. Like there's actually a blockchain company called Theta. It's a cryptocurrency / blockchain company, but that's like their entire value prop of their thing is like, you mine this cryptocurrency by watching streams and helping other people watch streams. So like this idea has been in the space for a while, but Twitch has just never implemented it. I think that the streaming landscape is in a really interesting place right now. I think that Facebook and Mixer are finally I feel like they're out of version 1 with Facebook Gaming and with Mixer, and they're starting to test their innovations, right? So I think Mixer as a platform is clearly, they're very publicly geared toward reinvesting in their creators. And I think they know that they need to do that, because there's sort of been a lot of Mixer folks that are like, I think I'll start streaming on Twitch now too, which is not something you want, obviously, as a platform. But I think, I think in the long term, and I've said this forever on this podcast about platforms and content creation platforms, is you either have to have the best platform or the most investment in creators. And I think that one of the things that Twitch did to disrupt that was Twitch did a way better job with providing accessible revenue streams to people who decided to stream than folks who made YouTube content, which is why there was this sort of mass adoption of Twitch so quickly, because they're like, oh, I can stream on Twitch for like, half a year. If you already have an established YouTube channel, get partnered and start making more money than I could on my YouTube channel. So that drove a lot of, adoption, because it was ultimately more investment. Right. So I think that, Mixer is setting up to invest really heavily in their creators, and I think Facebook is too. Facebook just launched supporter stickers, which is basically like what you would understand as a Twitch emote for subscribing, but they're stickers that you can use everywhere on Facebook, which is the wider audience proposition, right? My sincerest hope is that all three platforms continue to exist and be competitive and be great places for people to create, and end up being more like media networks in the long term than being, like these really like clicky, I have to be here platforms. Like news anchors on ABC don't hate news anchors on Fox, and news anchors on Fox don't hate news anchors on, CNN or whatever. Like everyone tries to get along because they're all, they're all making news. And I really do think that, the ideal outcome for the space is that everybody, I think the ideal outcome from the space is that, there's healthy competition, and, there are reasons for the viewer to watch content on every different platform, and whether that is driven by content creators or interactivity or exclusive content is kind of yet to be decided. And this is like a really long question, answer to your question, but we haven't had a chance to talk about this on everyone was sort of really quiet, for a long time, gearing up for these next big moves. Sure. But yeah, I think that Mixer's set up to try a lot of really innovative things. I think Twitch is set up to try and, innovate and iterate on their product as well. and Facebook obviously is too. And I think that as the live streaming space grows, it's, you know, everybody, because it's so gaming focused, everyone really thinks there can only be one best whatever and everything else is dead.
Right.
But I think in reality, as live streaming grows, there's going to be so much bandwidth, right, of people who want to watch live content. They're going to go to a platform that fits their needs.
Right.
An interesting anecdote about this is Amy and I went out to eat last night, and I was we were just talking to our waiter, and it comes to find out, our waiter streams. I was like, oh, you stream? I was like, what's your Twitch username? He goes, oh, I don't like Twitch. I like Mixer way better. So I stream on Mixer. And I was like, what the fuck? And so I had a really long conversation with him about, like, why do you feel that way? And, like, how often have you been streaming, and, like, who do you like to watch on Mixer? And, like, he loves that platform. He's like, I watch Twitch sometimes. He's like, I like to watch Twitch for Dr. Disrespect, but I feel at home on Mixer. And I think that is another big part of it, is this community building aspect and which platform enables communities the most. So Kevin, my friend that streams on Mixer, is in chat. He said, K-Magic 101 says, hey, so you gave him my Mixer URL, right? I asked him if he watched you, and I told him to follow you. His name is Australian or it was Mad Drop Bear, because he's from Australia, and apparently that's what they call koalas. There. But anyway, like, I think that it's really interesting. That is the first interaction I've ever had with somebody organically where they said, I prefer this platform because I feel at home there, because there was never a that just like when I started streaming on Twitch, everyone said, well, why don't you stream on, or why don't you just make YouTube content? And now it's, oh, you stream, why don't you just stream on Twitch? And I think that the natural evolution of things is people are just going to find where they like to go. And yeah, there's like user base discussions. Like, obviously Twitch has the largest, most installed user base, for people who are watching concurrent video game content and things like that, which is the big challenge that Facebook has to overcome, that Mixer has to overcome. But Facebook and Mixer also have massive platforms, and, even down to a hardware level that they can leverage to get people into that content.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it was really cool to see all the Mixer changes and be like, okay, that's cool. Like, they're doing, like, really cool things. And then it was weird because everybody, after all these Season 2 changes came out, they were like, yeah, these are really cool. But there was a bunch of talk of like, oh, well, why isn't there, like, an affiliate status coming out? And it's almost one of those things when, like, that was said, it almost made me, like, cringe in a sense.
Okay.
Because and I said it to the point of, not, like, affiliate's a bad thing, but, like, when affiliate happened on Twitch, like, it kind of caused some, like, weird ripple effects, and it wasn't really the best rollout.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said about readily monetizing everyone's content on a platform.
Right.
Which, and this is something I recommend everybody, like, if you want to stream and monetize your hobby, there's no better place to do that than Twitch. You can get affiliate with 10 viewers who are watching you consistently. They can all sub to you, and your video game habit is paid for, right? So, I think that is key, but I think that the affiliate program has also created a lot of animosity. It's created internal cultural issues at Twitch. Now when they release a new thing, they have to consider these, 400,000 at this point plus affiliates that are going to be affected by it as well. And there's almost always negative backlash, and there's this infighting and stuff like that. I think that looking into the future, there's kind of two outcomes. Like, it's either going to sort of stay the way that it is, or like this whole like cryptocurrency blockchain concept of like everybody along the chain of interaction is going to get compensated in some way. Like the viewer will get paid for watching an ad, and the advertiser will get paid for the viewer watching the ad, and like there's all this other like interconnected stuff. So like if that ends up being the structure in the future, then the affiliate stuff makes sense. But again, like these are really high level concepts that have a lot of technology that has yet to be developed for them. I personally think that, you know, having a partnership program that has barriers that people have to overcome, you know, yeah, that sucks because you have to work hard and make it happen. And you have to figure out how to make that work. But in doing that, you're learning how to make great content. You're learning how to build a community, how to sustain a community, how to properly monetize that community, how to promote yourself, and in general, how to be fiscally responsible with your content as a business. So, you know, anytime I see people asking for participation trophy stuff, I don't like it. Now, don't get me wrong, like the affiliate program on Twitch has done a lot of good things to like the hobbyist streamer, and I would never want to take that away. But for, you know, every hobbyist, there's somebody who gets affiliate status and thinks that they can go full time and then expects to be treated, you know, like they're the most important person in every room that they walk into, and every change has to consider them. So it's hard. I'm a big fan of, you know, getting what you work for and getting what you earn. And I think that I particularly don't like the idea of just opening up monetization to everybody on your platform, because I think it just creates a larger disparity in like the level of success you can have on a platform. And in doing that, it can also demotivate a lot of people and slow down development of stuff that matters. Yeah.
Like that was me personally, and I think that's why, like, I don't know, affiliate has a bad place in my mind. It's just because, oh, it's like, bam, I got affiliate on Twitch, and so everything was cool. And then it's like, I could definitely tell, like, it slowed down me wanting to stream and doing stuff. It's like, oh, I reached this goal, even though it was in no way the end. And so it's like, then I ended up switching over to Mixer just for like a fresh start and to like kind of reset everything. And it's like almost for like that to come over there like worries me, because it's like, oh, I don't want to like have the same thing over here happen that just like happened on Twitch. And it's like, I don't. For me personally, I don't want to like end up getting the same situation and like, oh, let's hop platform again, or like, you know what I mean, like another fresh start.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I think that from your perspective, particularly, like, I think that the barrier to partnership really sort of like, I don't want to say this, like blocked out. What's the right word? It filtered people who really, really wanted it.
Right.
And it, you know, the folks that were just sort of there to have fun could have fun, and there wasn't this weird in between place. You know, I always called getting partnership passing the job interview, right?
Yeah.
Affiliate feels weird. Like it doesn't have that passing the job interview feeling. And so when you get there, you're like, well, okay, like I got this, but like, how do I get that? And again, like, you know, Twitch gamifying the whole process by being like, you know, setting up achievements to like, here's how you get affiliate, here's how you get partner is awesome. It's awesome that there's this really visible direct pathway to partnership, but at the same time, and I'll go back to, I'm trying to, I lost my thought. At the same time, it's gone, chat. My thought's gone. My thoughts. You know, you have crap. It's totally gone, chat. I totally lost my train of thought. That's the joy of attention deficit disorder. Oh my god. But yeah, like the overall structure of the way Twitch is set up, and oh yeah, that's right. So Twitch, you know, Twitch has this affiliate program that lets people in the door really early.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's great long term.
Yeah. I see that. I see that.
Now, and this is a great question from Jez. Is there any benefit to being an affiliate? Yeah, there's a big benefit. I mean, there are a lot of studies that have been done on folks who got affiliate, and then they used that experience as an affiliate to propel themselves into full-time streaming, which is obviously the end goal. But Twitch has gamified, this is where I was at, Twitch has gamified the whole process of becoming a partner, and that makes people focus on numbers. So from the very beginning of your journey on Twitch, currently, you are being told by Twitch's internal metrics that numbers are what matter. Figuring out how to get your next 10 viewers, your next 10 followers, your next 100 followers, whatever. That's what matters. And community doesn't.
Yeah.
And that is the point I was trying to get to. That is wrong. That is like that. Any broadcaster will tell you that is the most destructive mindset you could possibly have. The second that you start looking like you look at everybody in your chat like they aren't enough, like there's 100 people here and it's not enough, and there's 1,000 people here and it's not enough, or whatever. Then you suddenly have these you have this problem of you're being educated into assuming that these people don't matter.
Yeah.
And that's an education point, you know?
Yeah.
That's why I've always tried desperately I've always wanted to be more involved with, helping Twitch design these systems and give feedback, but it's always kind of felt like it's fallen on deaf ears. When it takes 5 years to roll out an incredibly powerful community building feature like cumulative subs, which rewards everyone who watches you, no matter how long they've been there, equally. If you've subbed for 20 months, then you get a 20-month badge, whether those 20 months were spread out across 5 years or they were all back to back. There's a lot of things that Twitch has taken a long time to do, and I'm hoping that as the space evolves and grows and competition increases, that Twitch starts to take competition seriously, because if they don't, that's how a lot of companies implode in the long term. They say, okay, well, we're the best and no one can challenge us, and you're just gonna do what we say because we know what's right.
Yeah, and now there are like these challengers, whether they're like the largest or not. Competition breeds better ideas, so it's
Absolutely.
like it's really cool to see that all like go down and happen. It's like, okay, well, now we're gonna finally do this. Now that somebody is out here doing blank, and then we're gonna fill in that blank with this over here, and then back and forth for the rest of time.
That every other industry has healthy competition and has multiple players, and it helps make better products. Twitch has enjoyed a very long tenure of sitting on top of a mountain all by itself, without any true competition from anywhere else. Like, Hitbox used to exist, and like Azubu and MLG TV tried and all that stuff. But now that you have the biggest tech companies in the world competing for this space, that's going to drive true innovation, because all of those companies see that there's money to be made there, and they have to figure out what the best tool set is to make that money. Forgot about Azubu? Yeah, you did. Yeah, you fucking did.
I almost forgot about Hitbox, man. Or Smashcast.
Smashcast? Yeah, no, fuck this. Yeah, whenever Twitch was down, it was fuck this, I'm going to Smashcast, or fuck this, I'm going to Hitbox.
Right. But yeah, that's really cool to just kind of like hear your thoughts about Mixer and like where streaming space in general, because I know that it's the streaming space, so it's always kind of like changing. There's always this back and forth. But other than that, my really only thing is like, I just want to say like thank you for the podcast, because without it, I probably wouldn't have started making content again, because it's something I left, and I went, listened to the podcast, came back, and that's where like, I'm going to stream on Twitch because Twitch is the best, it's great. And I was like, well, okay, we're going to go over here and try something different. And I've had like more success on Mixer than like me doing like YouTube content or like streaming on Twitch. And so it's really cool, because if I didn't find the podcast, it probably wouldn't have happened, or at least I probably wouldn't have stuck with it as much as I have and keep doing it and stuff like that. So yeah, thanks. And also for like streaming and all the laughs and that you provide and just stuff like that. Like, I don't know, man.
Oh, thank you for thank you. Thank you. Thank you for listening and like watching and trying new things. When I started this, that was the story that I wanted to hear from people a year later was, I tried this out and it went great. And I was hoping that that's what it was going to be, and it's just really, you put your ass on the line when you give someone advice. So I'm really happy that's working out for you and you got back into content creation, and that's fucking awesome, man. Do you want to let everybody know? And thank you for the fucking great questions too. Do you want to let everyone know where they can go find you?
Everybody can find me at mixer.com /welfarefish, or twitter.com /the welfarefish, youtube.com welfarefish. It's all the same. And yeah, just come hang out, have a good time. We play some video games. We swim around in the fishbowl. It's a good time. I mean, what can't you like? What can't you love? That
is some epic self-promotion. I love it. You fucking shot your shot, and I love everything about it. Please, everyone, go follow this guy. If that promo didn't get you in there, please go. I don't know what to tell you. Thank you so much, Welfarefish. You have a fantastic day, man.
You too, man. Thank you.
All right, bye. That was great, man. What a cool story and a great discussion that we have not had about streaming for a long time. I think I think it's been such a crazy year in the streaming space. You have to remember, was like about a month ago was when Fortnite BR dropped last year, and inside of that last year, the streaming space and the gaming space in general has garnered so much attention, from events like Ninja and Drake and like all of the stuff that Ninja's been doing in the space, and then now you have people like Business Insider who are interviewing more and more people, and gaming is becoming such a huge part of culture, or a celebrated part of culture that's sort of being brought out from the underground, that I'm just incredibly excited. I feel like that I don't feel like the winner has been decided yet, if there has to be one, but there's I think there's exciting years ahead for everyone in the live streaming space, regardless of where you stream at. I think that pretty much every major player in the space understands that they have to take care of their content creators and their viewers and provide the viewers with the best experience as well in order to, win or be successful. And I think that means nothing but good things for everyone, whether you're on Twitch or Mixer or Facebook or even YouTube, which is kind of having a bit of a resurgence for their live streaming as well, since they sort of integrated YouTube gaming back into the fold of YouTube proper. So there's just so much cool stuff happening, and I love it. Now, we had a discussion about affiliates, and Jez said in chat, he asked what I would change about the affiliate program, and I mean, I would remove it. That's not like but again, the problem is it's like Pandora's box. You can't, you can't unexplode that bomb, or, I think when they announced it, I was concerned that it would be a mistake. And I feel like, Twitch got up and they talked about, all of their achievements this past year, and they talked about how they're paying out more money to affiliates and partners. But the volume game on that is, it's kind of obvious to see, right? Like, obviously you're paying out more money if you have, hundreds of thousands of affiliates. There's a volume sales game there as well. I think the affiliate program is fantastic for the hobbyist gamer. I think it is detrimental to the long-term growth and success of a platform, because it generates frustration among the up-and-coming people on your platform if they feel like they can't grow because they've gotten a taste of what it should be like, and then disappointment. And then, like I said, the education problem of constantly forcing people to stare at their numbers all the time and gamifying it so that people are focused on numbers instead of community is not smart either. How you educate people is how they are going to default approach things, and they can have a really strong psychological effect on folks that they don't even realize until, you know, somebody's around to unpack it for them. So like there, you know, you could increase the threshold for affiliate status and things like that. I just feel like the barrier to becoming a partner on Twitch is it's in such a good place. I don't want to say low because I don't think that it's bad. I think that it's in such a good place. Right now, you know, hovering around 75 concurrent viewers and all this other stuff. I feel like it's in such a good place that the affiliate thing sort of, it just doesn't make sense, I guess, in my mind, compared to what it could be. Yeah. So that was awesome. That's a great discussion. Apparently, we're already 30 minutes into the podcast, and I had no idea. Let's grab this guy. This is Mr. Turtle Speed.
Yes, sir. How are you, bro, man?
I'm wonderful, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well.
What can I do for you?
Well, just first off, I wanted to thank you, of course, for the podcast. I'm in the middle of, I think I'm on somewhere in the 60 range.
Okay.
Once I'm on, thank you for that. It's always good info, whether it's a content creator or just a business man or woman. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
The other thing is, I want to thank you for your business, King's Coast Coffee.
Okay.
But I'm waiting for the cocoa, but I've ordered the coffee for friends, and they love it, so they're kind of hooked on it. So thank you for that.
That's awesome, man. Thank you for supporting our small business. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. You're welcome. One question I had for you was, of course, you know, we just had Halloween. We've got Thanksgiving coming up.
Yeah.
And then also Christmas. What's your thoughts on, like, changing the mood of your channel for the holiday themes with Thanksgiving and Christmas? Is that a good thing, bad thing?
I think it's a great thing. You know, it wasn't when I got started on Twitch, it wasn't as prevalent. But I think that, you know, making content, especially live content, that feels, you know, time and place appropriate, right? Feels more integrated into people's lives. Helps build community. You know, if everyone is celebrating Christmas and they tune in and they see, you know, snowflakes and all this other stuff, you know, the winter holiday fair, it sort of makes people feel like they're experiencing it with, you know, their family online. I think that changing stuff up consistently, you know, throughout the year is really good. It's something I'm also terrible about because I forget about it until it's too late. But yeah, like, I think that, you know, I think when done right, it's awesome. I also don't think it's a requirement. You know, I think you're okay if you don't have new alerts for, you know, every new season during the holidays.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that. One other question I had was, so I'm just a small channel starting out.
Sure.
I've been going for almost a year now.
Wonderful.
And,
congratulations.
Thank you. My question was on being a small channel with, I'm almost at, I think, 200 followers or so, something like that. Is it bad to do giveaways being a small channel, like trying to bring people in? Because I want the channel, I try to be genuine, and I want my chat and my channel to be that way as well. So is that a good thing, bad thing to do giveaways? What's your thoughts?
I think it depends on your approach, ultimately, right?
Right.
Some people approach giveaways as like a volumetric play, right? Like, I'm going to do this giveaway to try and get maximum social growth and impact out of, you know, my investment in this product, right? So you buy a graphics card and then you're like, okay, it's cost me $600 and I want to get $600 for the growth for my channel, all this other stuff. And that's not a bad approach. But I think that it leaves out a really big part of the equation, which is your community that you're trying to grow. You know, for me, I do giveaways pretty frequently. I'm planning on doing a lot more next year because They're incredibly effective for exposing people to your content. And I think that that was sort of the piece of the puzzle personally that I was missing when we would talk about this. I would have this approach where I was like, oh no, giveaways are all terrible and you should never do them, because they make you look selfish. But in reality, I think that if you make great content and the point of the giveaway is to drive people to experience that content, like if you're confident in what you're making, I think giveaways are fantastic. Like when I run a giveaway, I try and get people exposed to my podcast because I think that it's the most high value thing that I do. I try to get people onto my Instagram because that's the best place for people to interact with me. You can send me a DM and I'll talk to them there, or I'll talk to you there probably in more depth than I would be able to anywhere else. So there's just a lot of different ways to approach doing giveaways and things like that. My personal approach is find the most high value content that you produce and use the giveaway to drive people to that. Because if you're doing that, no one's going to look at your giveaway and be like, oh, that's stupid. Like, if you can explain to folks, like, why are you doing this? You just want more followers, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, yeah, because I think I make great content. And I want people to, know everywhere that I make content at, Mm-hmm. I also think for more established channels, really well curated giveaways using like Gleam can do a lot for cross exposure. Like everyone who watches you on Twitch might know you have a YouTube channel, but they just can't ever really be bothered to go click that shit. You do a giveaway, suddenly they're like, oh, well, I love Jez's YouTube videos, but now if I check out his Twitch stream, I have a chance to win a graphics card. Or if I go follow him on Instagram, I'll have a chance to win a computer or whatever. It's that little carrot on the end of the stick to get your community a little bit more engaged across where you're at. So that's how I approach it. Sorry, that was a really long answer.
No, that's fine because I struggle with that because I like to give back, but
yeah,
sometimes you go into a channel and they're just pushing follow me and you can be in this and that. So
I think
try to find the balance.
Yeah, I think that it's got to be organic. Like when I run giveaways during like, let's say, like a really hype period in Destiny, I try to only bring up, what, like, hey, I'm doing a giveaway like once every hour or 2 hours, because I want people to know that it's happening. And I have all of the reasoning that I just presented for that. But if you're doing it constantly, like people are just like, I can't fucking stand this. Like people know when they're being sold to. And if you're constantly hard selling your next giveaway to get followers, people are going to see it for what it is. But if you're out there doing a giveaway and you're talking about it organically and it's about engagement and you tell people like, oh, by the way, I'm on Instagram and like this is like I make great content there and this is a way to reward you for checking it out, blah blah blah. I think it can be done really well, and I think it can be incredibly effective with that approach. But yeah, if you're going to a channel and they're fucking trying to shove whatever the next giveaway is down your throat, it's a one-way ticket to Failuresville.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome, man. I don't know if we've ever talked about giveaways on the podcast before, by the way. So thank you for that great question.
You're welcome. I mean, it's mentioning it, can help others as well.
Absolutely, man.
That's what it's about, as you say. So, lastly, so when I started, I streamed. Really, I was only able to stream on Saturdays.
Gotcha.
And a large part of why I stream and where my community is at is because of I played with a lot of guys from the UK.
Gotcha.
So they're 5, 6, 7 hours ahead of me.
Gotcha.
So when I started trying to incorporate more into the week, after I get home from work, it's
everybody's asleep.
It's already midnight or later.
Yeah.
All that group is they're in bed or they're getting ready to get up and go to work depending on what they do. So what would you do as to maybe try to gain more here on the US side as far as viewers?
Sure. I mean, I think it's as far as like, growing outside of an established time slot, which is a difficult problem for anybody who's built a community. Like, for me, and I still notice this, most people are used to watching me in the afternoon. And if I have a schedule change or I can't be on early in the, in the afternoon, like during when people are used to watching me, like I don't have as great a viewership numbers, and that's neither here nor there. But the reality is, I think the best way to sort of work around that is just getting on a little bit earlier than your normal time slot every day, and eventually people start to sort of trickle down into that time. And then also move to the UK. No, also you can you can just do the general things that I would recommend to sort of grow your channel, which is just trying to collaborate with more folks and building and networking with people who maybe watch and create content during that time zone.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, that's really the best advice. Putting your nose down and grinding.
Just stick with it.
Yeah, stick with it, basically. Understand that it's not going to be the same because of the time difference, and understand also that's all right. You are purposefully building a larger community that is in a different time zone and in a different space.
Right. Okay. Well, that was all I had. I don't want to take up too much of your time. So.
Oh, this was a great conversation, man. Thank you so much.
Well, all right. Thank you.
All right, thank you, man. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.
Oh, wait. Tell everybody where they can find you. I almost forgot.
I am, as my name states, just Mr. Turtle Speed. No spaces, plain and simple. And I am on Twitch and Twitter. Nice and easy.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, bro, man.
Have a good one. Yeah. Almost forgot, dude. All right. Let's get some. I'm going to grab a couple questions from chat. As a streamer, how do you find friends to play with, or do you not need friends when you have viewers? I mean, like, when I started streaming, I just played with my friends from the, SDA forums, and then like the guys that I speed ran with, because I met them outside of Twitch. But I think, playing with viewers is awesome, but you need to be careful when you're, if you decide to play with viewers really consistently, you need to make sure not to take advantage of folks or give people the wrong idea. But if you find somebody who's a viewer and they add a lot of value to your content, right? They have whether people tune in, they're, hey, you playing with X person today? Like, I think it's about finding a team of folks that you want to make content with, and that those people can start as viewers and then end up being a whole lot more. Gunny, Char, Rebel Eyes are all kind of prime examples of people in my life. That I've seen go from viewer to friend to, collaborating creator. Yeah. So I think that it's not really that difficult, I don't think, to find folks to stream with if you really want to. And again, like, just being part of Twitch and being part of communities, going out and saying, hey, blah, 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 I'd, love to make content with you, because you're there in their channel all the time. Nothing wrong with that either. How do you drive yourself to streams when stream on days when maybe your mind isn't right? I personally try to focus on, the people that I know will have a great time if I'm online. I feel like there's a lot of responsibility, especially after you've got a community that's grown a little bit, to be present for that community and to grow with them, and make sure that you're there, because one of the cool things about Twitch is that broadcaster relationship, or I guess this is live streaming in general, one of the cool things is that broadcaster viewer relationship, you know, they depend on you for content, and I think that it's okay to lean on each other every once in a while. You know, like as long as you're not tuning in every day trying to treat chat like you're you know, like your therapist, I think you're in an okay spot. That makes sense. Do you think streaming multiple games at the same time stunts your growth? No, I think you can stream, you know, as many different games as you want as a broadcaster. I think it has less to do with whether or not you have a main game and more to do with less to do with you having a main game and more to do with you having great content that people want to come back to over and over again. Having great content covers a lot of gaps as a content creator. Yeah. All right, let's grab Bull Boski. What's up, man?
Inhale and exhale.
How you doing? Hello? Hey! I hear you. I think I hear him. We'll figure it out. Might be muted. I don't know. Rip. All right. He disappeared. So we're gonna get this guy. This is not Pablo Escobar, who is hopefully not a troll. I'm always worried when I see Nini looking names. What's up, Pablo?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing really good, man.
This is... Okay, all right. Well, I have a couple of questions about, like, regarding Destiny, in Destiny 2 as a whole.
Sure.
Really just the franchise of
Yeah, that's
Destiny 2.
awesome. Let's talk about it.
Like, I just want to get your opinion on how do you think Destiny 2, or like, what do you think about the current state of Destiny 2 and the way that the road that Bungie seems to be taking when they progressing and developing the game? How do you think Bungie's mindset is?
Sure. Yeah. So how do I feel about, you know, where they're going with the game and like the direction of the content so far? I'm pretty happy with it. You know, Bungie's tried a lot of things. If we want to go all the way back to Destiny 1, you know, when Destiny 1 vanilla came out, it was a pretty heavy MMO experience with really hard like time gates. It was difficult to progress. You had to raid to get to end game power and things like that.
Yeah.
And then going forward, like, you know, Bungie had the traditional DLC structure where they had, you know, 1 or 2 DLCs a year and then a big expansion, and then, you know, lots of different approaches to that, but, you know, operating inside of the same sort of DLC framework. So for Destiny 2, you know, they launched the game. It was incredibly casual to sort of, I don't mean casual like easy, although it was easy, but it definitely catered to people who didn't have a lot of time to play.
Yeah.
And in doing so, they put a hard limit on how much time you needed to invest in the game to get everything. And so after about 200 hours, everyone was like, okay, I'm done. Even less for some other people. So the approach going forward with the annual pass, as they stated in their Vidocs and as they, you know, really presented when they launched the annual pass content, is that unlike every other year of Destiny, this year is about continually releasing end game focused content. So, you know, new activities, new weapons, and new things for you to chase in the end game, instead of dropping big DLCs that everybody blows through in a day, and then they say like, okay, well, it's the, you know, like, what's the number one comment you see on a stream when a DLC would drop for Destiny? Hey, how long's the story? Oh, I finished it. It was 2 hours. Wow, 2 hours? Really? That's stupid. I'm done. I won't be buying this.
Yeah.
So I think that the annual pass system that they've got developed makes a lot of sense. I don't think it's a guaranteed home run or anything like that. I think that it's closer to, I mean, it's absolutely attempting something that they've never tried before, which is just sort of focusing on a continuous support of the end game instead of, constantly injecting, this new story-based content that might take away from end game investment and development and time like that. So I'm really pleased with the direction that things are going right now. Whether or not, it ends up delivering on those goals and promises is sort of an entirely different discussion. And we won't really know the answer to that until, we've had hands on the DLC and had a chance, or not DLC, hands on the annual pass and a chance to play it, really consistently.
Well, I think that's a good way to view it. But we've seen, like, at the beginning of the Destiny 2's at launch,
Sure.
we've seen that it was a very, like, popular game almost, but and then it fell off pretty quickly. And then we had Curse of Osiris, which really wasn't a step up from anything, really.
Yeah, it was pretty abject failure in my mind.
Yeah. But and then, obviously we progressed. We got Warmind and now Forsaken, which I think brought a lot of players back, but also, like, it didn't really. I mean, it succeeded a lot of expectations, mine included, but it just wasn't as big as I thought it would be.
Okay.
But so now, let's say it stays at this current level until Destiny 3 comes out. Well, what effect do you think this might have on certain content creators?
Well, I don't think that it's going to stay at this level until Destiny 3 because they're obviously going to be releasing more content. I think that ultimately, and I've said this for a long time, if you're a content creator and all you do is make content around one game, you're incredibly vulnerable and you're massively over leveraged because your success or failure is tied completely to the existence of one game, one developer, and people who are not you making decisions about the game that you're going to make content about. And they could make bad decisions, then you might not have any content to make. So I think that, the annual pass that's coming out is something that has not been done before in Destiny's history. So yeah. I don't really have an answer to whether or not I think that's going to be great for content creators or bad for content creators. I can say that if it matches the pacing and excitement and value of the cadence of content that came out post Forsaken, obviously the community responded really well to every single one of those moments that were happening, whether it was the raid or the evolution of the Dreaming City, the unlocking of the corrupted strike and going in and doing the dungeon and things like that. I think that if, Bungie keeps pace with updating the end game with a continuously improving amount of value for the long-term player, I think that that's great for content creators. What is to be seen is whether or not, all of those necessary moving parts match up.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. And just a final question that would
sure.
be, for the annual pass, what would you like to see as in terms of content?
What would I like to see? Everything that they had on their roadmap looked really good. I don't have the roadmap up really now, but it looks like they're going to be dropping new activities and new end game focus with every season. So that means every 12 weeks, throughout this annual pass until we get to, whatever the next big DLC drop is at the end of the annual pass. we're going to be getting new content in Destiny that's going to be end game focused. That's something that we've never had before. So I would like to see that content be good, engaging, and valuable. I would like to see that content be challenging, and equivalently rewarding. Since they are focusing more on the end game and they're not bringing in so much, these big other things that we're used to seeing in DLCs. I'm really hoping that that level of investment in the end game really allows Bungie to shine, because they've certainly done a great job with it in Forsaken.
Yeah. And I kind of said it would be the last question, but this is actually my...
No, it's fine, man. Just don't worry about it.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of things in Destiny 1. What would be like your favorite thing to come back from Destiny 1?
Favorite thing to come back from Destiny 1. Oh, that's tough. SRL. yeah, SRL for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's been great. Thank you so much for this.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much, Pablo. Thank you for the great questions and the good discussion, man.
All right,
dude. Have a good one.
Bye.
That was great, dude. Little discussion about Destiny. Wrap it on up, and we are gonna wrap it on up. Thank you all very much for tuning in today and being part of the podcast. I appreciate everybody. If you're in Discord, I didn't get to your question, I will always remind you that you can contact me on Instagram. You can send me a DM anytime, day or night, and I will get to it when I can. I reply to all my DMs, so that's at Professor Broman there. Thank you so much for tuning in. I fucking appreciate all of you. If you got any value out of this podcast, please share it with somebody that you love. If you thought of somebody when we were having these discussions, hit them up and be like, hey, Broman talked about this. The whole point of this podcast is to make your life as a content creator or wherever you're at better. And I just want to do that for as many people as I possibly can, and you sharing the podcast with folks enables that to happen. So thank you all so much, and I'll talk to you next time. Peace.